Okay, good evening, everybody. We're going to continue with a couple more examples of completing the squares we started today in class. I'm going to go quickly through this, and so you probably will need to hit pause, maybe rewind a little bit, but I'm going to kind of go through this kind of quickly for the notes tonight. Okay, so the very first thing that we need to do is when we see this is we are going to write it so that we have one thing I like to do. You don't have to do it this way, but write it so that I have either one side equal to 0, which is a good thing to have, or what we're going to do today is we're actually going to start to build the generic rectangle. So if I look at if I have my equation mat written kind of like this, on the left-hand side here, I have an x squared, and then I have 4x's. So I'm going to, since I'm doing completing the square, I'm going to write them so that they are evenly distributed. And then on this side over here, I have 3 1s. Like that. Okay, so there's my 3 1s. Now, what I would like to have is this square completed, which means this part right here would need to be filled in with 1s. So in order to do that, I added 4 1s. So then over here, I need to add 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and so now I have a perfect square, which is what I wanted. So what that would look like in my equation, it would be x plus 4x plus 4 is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So now the whole reason that I do that is I can then factor this. Hopefully we know our shortcuts. X plus 2 squared equals 7. Take the square root of both sides. Please remember, and write a fifth color right now, that when you take the square root of a number, the answer is going to be plus or minus the square root of 7. So then my final answer is going to be x is equal to -2 plus or minus the square root of 7. So I subtract 2x from both sides. So -2 plus or minus the square root of 7. And of course, the calculator would then finish that off. And what we've just found there are 2 x-intercepts. That's what we're finding when we solve for x. All right, take a look at the next slide. Looking at my next slide, okay, so I have, I'm going to go ahead and go straight to the generic rectangle, or the algebra tile. So here we go. There's my x squared, and I'm going to split these up. I'm going to make these ones red this time because they would be the red side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And over here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and those are all x's. And then I already have 10. So there's 6. And here's 7, 8, 9, 10. So what I'm missing then is I would need to add this many of my I need to add this many to it. So if I have 10 there, and what I'd like it to be 36, that means I needed to add 26. So, and I just add it to both sides. So if here is my line, then over here, I added 26 ones to this side. Okay, so my equation then is x squared minus 12x plus 10 equals 0. So then I'm going to add 26 to both sides. So I get x squared minus 12x plus 36 equals 26. Then I'm going to factor it, so I get x minus 6 squared is equal to 26. And remember, it's minus because the b term was negative. So then I take the square root of both sides, and I get x minus 6 equals plus or minus the square root of 26. And so then my last step, which is going to be to add 6 to both sides, and I'll write the answer over here is x equals 6 plus or minus the square root of 26. Okay, so that's how I write my final answer. All right, and lastly, I'll try and do, looks like this. So I have this equation right here, which is 2x plus 20x equals 8. So the very first thing that I would do is I would do a one story. I always want to try and do one stories. So actually what I'm going to do before that is I'm going to subtract 8 from both sides. You'll see that makes it a little bit easier. 2x plus 20x minus 8 equals 0. Now I'm going to do a one story, factor completely, so put a 2 on the wall. X plus 10, x squared plus 10x minus 4 equals 0. So here I need to, now I can draw it, and so I'm going to go, there's my x squared. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm starting off with 4 negatives. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need this in here to be 25 positives. So in order to make that 25 positives, I actually need to add 29 in order to make it 25 positives, because I have to add 4 to get rid of these right here. So I'm going to go to the next page and we'll take a look at what that looks like. So here I have x squared plus 10x minus 4. Oops. And so here I'm going to have x squared plus 10x minus 4 equals 0. So then I'm going to add 29 to both sides. So I get x squared plus 10x plus 25 equals 29. And then this is going to be x plus 5 squared equals 29. Take the square root of both sides. X plus 5 equals plus or minus the square root of 29. Lastly, subtract 5 from both sides. And x equals negative 5 plus or minus the square root of 29. Okay, so there we go. So there's 3 examples. And as you see, I just beat the bell, or maybe I didn't quite beat the bell. The last thing I want you to do tonight, we haven't done this in a while, but I'd like for you to fold in, solve these problems. So remember, in fold and solve, you should try not to look underneath if you don't need to. See how much of the process you can do without looking underneath. See how close you can get to the color that I used, everything, so that it looks exactly like the way I did it. Okay, I'll see you guys tomorrow. By the way, no bookwork tonight. Just do the fold and solve. Okay, see you tomorrow.